till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
And here we are once again. Greetings, 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 and greetings once again, as I said. And welcome to our program, The Silence of Our Friends. That's right, we are here at least monthly now to bring to you the latest and greatest as it relates to people of color, the church, our society, and how the people of God, the people of the kingdom should respond to the darkness that is in the earth, the darkness that is in the world, the darkness of the universe from God's perspective. I think we do not have enough of that as it relates to the church and Jesus' prophecy about the church. And as you note, when Jesus made the statement over in the Beatitudes, the beautiful attitudes, St. Matthew chapter 5, he makes the reference that the church, the followers of Jesus Christ, then known as the way, and now known as the church. Jesus said of us that we are the light of the world. And I can't get apart from that, separated from that regardless of what happens in the church, regardless of all the other things that the church has to deal with, the spiritual matters, Jesus said that you are the light of the world. And that tells me "the" is a definite article. If you take "the" in its proper connotation as it relates to English grammar, it is a definite article, which means this is a singular unit, a singular object being referred to and modified by the definite article "the." That differing from indefinite articles, and it could be many things, but he said you're the light of the world, of the world. So this tells us that without the kingdom light, the world is in utter sheer darkness. The world, the earth, the universe, the planet, the voting system, the seven mountains of influence are contingent upon, dependent upon the church for voice, for illumination, for light. So that means that someone has to uh, cry against darkness. It was Isaiah who said, "Lift up your voice like a trumpet in Zion, show my people their transgressions, the house of Jacob and Israel, their sins." And it was preceded by the phrase, cry loud. And then the second phrase, spare not. Third admonition, lift up your voice like a trumpet in Zion. This means that when the trumpeters blew their trumpets, it was the sound of either war or it was the sound of rejoicing. And that is the voice of the church. People of God, once you're born from above, born to sit at Jesus's table, the table of Father God through Jesus's blood of the new covenant, then we are, as citizens of the earth, residents of the earth, but citizens of heaven, we have a responsibility, and I'm thinking we must take our responsibility seriously. And as you're logging in, please, type in the comment section, "I take this responsibility seriously," if you will. I take this responsibility seriously. I wanted to bring you this program last Monday, which was Dr. King's, if you will, birthday. King Day, the King celebration day, Dr. King's birthday. I think it's the 15th, and the last Monday would have been the 18th. I think that's correct. We had all kinds of technical problems and exasperating, but this always tells me that we're on the right road. So make sure you are, as you're logging in, please share. People need to know we're here. If you think this is a meritorious program and not a waste of time, and we have a lot to talk about, and I now have less than an hour to talk about it. So welcome in. Make sure you are typing something in the comment section so I can say hello to you. Type in the subject matter. There it is. Hashtag ML King. Then hashtag I'm tired of marching, all in one phrase. And it was Dr. King who said that, along with many other uh, provocative on the one hand, and then on the other, very impactful statements. And those are just two adjectives I can use. But anyway, here we are. And then, of course, the other part of the subject, and I pray everyone has typed in the subject by now. The other part of it, and there are people coming in, you're logging in very well. And make sure, yes, everyone's saying they've liked and shared. Thank you so much. I'm waving back at you, Connie. I see you there. Loretta Evans, Curly, thank you. Yes, Carolyn, I see you. Banks, Rosalind Williams, I see you. Shirley Miller, great seeing you. Then hashtag ICE, ICE. And someone type in the chat what that acronym ICE stands for. We did a program last week or the week before last regarding ICE. And man, I need to just open up with some details and go from here. Thank you all for typing that in. Beverly Thompson is there. Connie Farrington Watson, thank you for being there. Thank you so much. Yeah, Carolyn Banks says, I'm on the bus. Thank you, Faith Walker, for being there. Abraham Smith, thank you, sir. Everyone, if you have not shared, please share, make people know we are here. And I just need to shake a few things up. Now, thank you. It was Tasha Cobbs on Lift Every Voice, her rendition. Every voice has a place and significance, and we do it until Jesus comes and gets us, or until earth and heaven reflect the same never-ending significance of harmony. We're joining in with others with this same united cause, and that of liberty, the non-ending purpose. Now, I wish to do a couple of things right here on off the rip. I want to everyone type in that word liberty, Liberty, liberty. And I want to give you sort of, if you will, a working definition. Now, this is an old definition. And this definition comes to us from the I think it's 1828 Webster's 1828 dictionary. Now, there's a lot to be said about Webster. This Webster was the father of, as it was told us, public education. But we really, and perhaps when we get into next month, I can deal with that a little bit more. Where public education truly originated, i.e., after the Civil War, the war between the states, the war between the North and the South, after the liberation of slaves, dark-skinned, melanated-skinned people, black, bronze, and brown people, then we found ourselves, by way of the ancestors, without a way of educating ourselves and really acclimating to this culture. And public education came as a result of that, even though this Webster of 1828, and I like to use his dictionary from time to time because it gives us sort of a canonization of terms from their original, really early sense. And liberty, from his perspective, means freedom from restraint. Now, I'm wondering, have we ever, as a people, has it been liberty for all? I used to make the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't make it any longer. And when I was in elementary school, they taught us that we had to stand. And this was during the Civil Rights Movement. I would say the early stages of it. This is I'm a first grader on. And we had to stand and face the flag in our rooms and put our hands over our little hearts and make this declaration, which we now know as we were citing our Pledge of Allegiance. Now, that's a little dangerous term already. Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. And then we get into all kinds of trouble right there with liberty. That's the word I'm looking for, liberty and justice for all. And that's never been the case for all. It was all white-skinned people, and the church has never dealt with that. And this is the truth. Freedom from restraint. Restraint comes in all kinds of sizes. Liberty also means in a general sense, applicable to the body or to the will and mind. So this means, yes, slaves, black people, let's just say dark-skinned people, were freed from the restraints of the iron cuffs, the bondage of enslavement. But what do we say about the will? What do we say about the mind? What do we say about opportunities? Uh, I don't want to stay on this because I really hadn't planned on going this route. Then, uh, then liberty also means power, equal power. By the way, I'm Georgia Matthews the second. You're black shirted, non-themed, egalitarian. That is our theme. An egalitarian is a person who stands for, represents, and is willing to take whatever comes to ensure that all people are free, that people have the same equality, levels of equality and freedom. Natural liberty consists in the power of acting as one thinks fit. Has that ever been the case truly equally across the board without any restraint or control except the laws of nature? Now, that is the good definition. No restraint except what nature would restrain. And this is craziness because along with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation by then President Abraham Lincoln and the end of the Civil War, then, of course, amendments 13, 14, and 15, one abolishing slavery, making it illegal to have slaves. And then, of course, making it so that all people were equal in citizenship. And then, of course, the right to vote came with that, and that was really the right for, uh, let's just say, black men to vote firstly, and the women came along much later. So what I'm saying, my point is, have we ever had liberty as a people? Has the church ever spoken out about the lack of liberty? Because it's one thing to free people from restraints as far as the bondage of enslavement, black enslavement in this country, but it's another to then move the restraints of opportunity. After from 1619, when the first 20 slaves were imported, extracted from Africa, stolen from Africa to work a stolen continent from the Aborigine people, the indigenous people of this country, then called Indians. Now we note them as American Indians, or excuse me, Native Americans, let's just better say. And then you think about enslavement for 200 years, 250 years, from 1619 all the way to 1865, and then some after that. Then you think about, could people act as they saw fit? We saw that with the uprising during the 11-year period, I want to say, of the rebuilding of America, if we could call it that. Reconstruction is that time period when all of these businesses of black models appeared. Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's been 104 years. I want to say 105 years. The anniversary will be this year. I think that was 1901, when this government pillaged, burned, and bombed the blocks of black enterprise to state that no, there will not be equal opportunities of liberty in this country. And we see it now, and ICE comes into play right there. So, yes, I see you, A.B. Jones. It was Frederick Douglass who said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. And that's one of the reasons that we're here. But anyway, Dr. King makes three statements. I'm going to check the chat, so I want to see what you all are saying. Number one, what will be remembered in the end will not be the words of our enemies, but in fact, the silence of our friends. Can't you hear it? The abject silence of our friends. Then he makes another statement at another place. There's nothing more dangerous in this world, I'll add, this universe, as two things, not one thing, but two: sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. And we have people in all races that embrace both of those models. And then finally, our lives begin to end the day, the moment, the millisecond, the nanosecond we become silent about things that matter. And there's much that matters that is on the table. Can I get an amen out there in the audience, the listening audience, and those who pick up the restream? Just type it in the comment section or the chat. And I've told you once, I'll tell you again, when perhaps former, and I put those in air quotes, former um, supremacists and racists and bigots are over education now, when they are the persons that you are receiving your downloads, uploads of information you refer to as education, from whom you're receiving it, they control your world by deciding how much you can know. And this is where liberty, this is where freedom really comes, when a person continues to study, when a person continues to search for answers. And my definition, homemade definition of education, is the ability to research, the ability to find out facts, the ability to analyze critical information, the ability to become a critical thinker. That's an educated mind. And then, of course, I've said to you once, I'll say it to you again: every system was designed to merit the exact results it receives. These are systems. Racism is a system, systematic racism, et cetera, et cetera. And then the deception of this country is that someone has to be stepped on or ignored, low rated, spoken pejoratively of, in order for someone else, the superior class, quote unquote, to be elevated. And that's craziness. And so on the other side of that is this psychological term called learned helplessness. It is everywhere. Learned helpless. I want everyone to type that, please, in the chat. Learned helplessness. Learned, Learned, helplessness, HELP, helpless, LESS, ness, NESS, helplessness. And that's in the church. That's in a family. It comes out of in the culture, where people have experienced a stressful situation, an oppressive situation repeatedly. That is over to say over and over again. And they come to believe, even though this isn't true, they're unable to control or change the situation, so they don't try, even when opportunities present themselves for them to elevate themselves. They just don't try. They're lethargic. And God help me, there's not much you can do with lethargic people. And most times, lethargic people who lack a response, they're neutral. They have neutrality as their focus. You can't do much. It's even Jesus who said over in the book of Revelation, I would that you were hot or cold, but because you're lukewarm, I've spewed you. And that's an idiomatic expression. I've spewed you out of my mouth, because of the lethargy that takes place with a people who are, they just come to just merely exist. They're mere survivors. They don't vote. They don't offer any resistance. They don't take a stand. They don't discuss the wrongs and the ills of our society. They don't find where they fit in. They don't take a position in their church. They don't take a role. They're inactive. And then when they are active, they don't improve. They've just been the same as they're drab without, learned helplessness. And that is a psychological state that placates. I'm talking too much tonight. Good afternoon or evening now for everyone who's joined us. I see you. Rick Layton, my man, I was thinking about you so heavily today. I released the blessing of the creed, blessing over your life and your precious wife, Dr. Barbara. I love those two so much. Man, you are on my mind so much today, and I just released that over you. It's great seeing your name. Theresa Thomas, the resident historian, is there. It was, she's elevated and knows so much about the history of our people in this country, and I've enjoyed many hours long conversations and challenging conversations with her. Beverly Thompson, as I said, is there. Christopher Jones, bless you, sir. Thank you for coming in. Pamela Dobbins has now joined us. Faith Walker, I think I referred to you being there. Charles Turner, thank you, sir, for being there. Who else has joined us of late? Yes, thank you all for coming in. Everyone, type in that you shared once you've done that. I did get a few amens because I asked for them. Yes, thank you all so much. Jalicia Monet, thank you. I was thinking about you and your grandmother, grandfather the other day. Yes, thank you, Carlette Candy, Leonard Steels. Thank you all so much. All right, now I need to get on to, we're here to deal with the seven mountains of influence and how this system of racism, bigotry, Jim Crowism that the church has never dealt with. Thank you. Yes, that's I need to say that more, Theresa Thomas. The Grand Rising. Yes, that's the theme the Lord gave me for the leadership of our two campuses. And so I will talk about that more later. Thank you so much, sir. Sir Layton, powerful, powerful person of God. I admire him so much and look up to him. And he knows it. I think he should. He does. If he doesn't, I'm here to tell the world. I look up to this man. The mountain of religion, seven mountains. What is it? Proverbs chapter 9, verses 1 and 2 tells us that every substratum of every culture has layers that upon which that culture exists or coexist. The mountain of religion. This is Islam, Buddhism, Baha'i, whatever, the Baha'i faith, Christianity. These are shapers, mind shapers, in some cases, mind benders. Then the mountain of family. Family is a powerful shaper of culture. Mothers and fathers have powerful influence or the lack thereof over the culture of their family. The mountain of education. Education has a powerful influence because, again, it uncovers and discovers the muscle of the mind, and the eyes are enlightened by whatever people begin understanding. Then, of course, the mountain of government. This is civics. This is politics. This is the voting process. The political structure is going to rule in most nations. And this is why people of God who are the mouth of God, mouths of God, and the arms of God, the feet of God, the legs of God, the energy of God in the universe, in the earth, are important to the voting system. Then, of course, the mountain of arts, celebration arts, recreation, movies, music, sports, entertainment. All of those are venues through which racism has poked its ugly head and stayed in this country. And the church has to address all of these mountains at various times and influence them for God's greater good. The mountain of media, and this manipulates. It was Adolf Hitler who, through propaganda, through seizing the media, and we see this presidential administration, number 45/47, who mimics the same thing. We taught many teachings, many programs about Project 2025. And man, I just sometimes I don't feel like, and I know we don't walk by our feelings, but it's so disparaging sometimes when you're trying to give people an information. And we tried to tell you this was a nearly 1,000-page document where these people told us, the Heritage Foundation, they told us exactly what they were planning on doing. And then finally, the mountain of business and economics. And so let's talk about that. Now, I ask you all to type in what the format, and maybe I'll do this backwards here. ICE, we call it. What is it? What is the acronym? What does it represent? ICE. Okay, I'm going to give you all a few minutes to get that. And I just want to talk about, I did a program a couple of weeks ago about ICE and how you should prepare to deal with this, because if you think that this administration has released ICE to uh, only deal with the unnaturalized now immigrants, how do you say it, of this country, you have a sad thought coming. Remember, I told you, and we've used this poem many times, and and I want everyone to pay attention to it. And I think sometimes I just don't know. Uh, I Let's see if I can pull this. I did this the last time. It seems like I'm dealing with so many things here that I don't want to necessarily deal with. Martin, uh, I want to see if I can find that program, the quote. Yeah, okay, thank you, Pamela Dobbins. Yes, okay, thank you, Carolyn Banks. Thank you, Carlette Candy. Thank you, Leonard Stills. Thank you, Carlette Candy, Leonard Stills. Thank you. Thank you, Theresa Thomas. I asked you the question, and a couple of you have answered it. ICE stands for Kimberly Patton. Thank you. Thank you, good doctor. I appreciate you being there and give you my best to your husband. Wonderful people, wonderful couple. Thank you, Pastor Jeffrey Glover. Bless you, sir. Bless you. Thank you for being here, man. Powerful ministry, powerful minister. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Thank you, Shirley Miller. That's exactly right. So now, let's see if I can find this very quickly. I want to tell you this particular, and I want you to just maybe put this somewhere um, in your reference information because I think it will be helpful. There's this, let's see if I can get it very quickly. Where am I? Where's my 1926? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Didn't pull it there. Um, hang on. Uh, I'm trying to give you all. Yeah, the date of that was January 12th. January 12th, I did a program entitled ICE, What You Gonna Do If dot 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 they come for you. Remember the theme song from Bad Boys, what you gonna do, what you gonna do when they come for you. And I want to just tell people all of these ICE agents are really, they have some other peace in their minds. And then I wanted to call your attention to this latest ICE killing. Um, uh, January 2026, federal immigration agents shot and killed 37-year-old U.S. citizen Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, Minnesota, sparking protests. Then early in the month, uh, uh, another Minneapolis man, Alex Pretty, Pretti, was fatally shot by agents, which the Trump administration defended. Now, this is just recent things. So, this man who was, reports indicate he was shot while disarmed and pinned down. Sounds very familiar. Uh, Mr. George Floyd, right there in Minneapolis, pinned down. And then the story came out that the man was possibly a would-be assassin. No, this is crazy to me because when you look at his story, January 24th, it was yesterday. I think I have the date right. Um, this man was a nurse, if you will, a registered nurse for the United States Department of Veteran Affairs. A very caring man from everything I've been able to indicate. He was Preti stood between an agent and a woman whom the agent had pushed, these ICE agents had pushed to the ground, putting his arm around the woman to protect her. I'm putting that in for clarity. He was subsequently pepper sprayed and wrestled to the ground by several federal agents, with around 6 surrounding him when he was shot and killed. This is serious. So bystander video verified and reviewed by Reuters, the BBC, the Wall Street Journal, and the Associated Press appeared to show an agent removing a gun and moving away from Preti roughly 1 second before another agent fires at him. AP, Associated Press, reported, voice is heard saying, "Gun, gun," quote unquote, right before the first shot. The man was licensed to carry a handgun. So the evidence has come back that he was holding a cell phone. not a gun, even though he was licensed to carry. Agents appeared to shoot at him at least 10 times within 5 seconds, beginning while he was pinned to the ground and continuing after he collapsed and his body lay motionless. What do you all think about that? What do you all? I want to hear what you think about ICE and their invasion. And then while you all are thinking about that, I want to give you, I told you this, I just think it was just, it's Martin Niemöller, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, who was an Episcopal, I want to say, uh, minister, who was once pro Adolf Hitler until his eyes became enlightened about Hitler's regime. And he makes this statement: first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one to speak out. See, that's what learned helplessness is. It's becoming so neutral about wrong that you have no response. You feel lethargic. You have no. I think it's a part of the human condition that there should be a very involuntary, what do we call it in the medical science, knee-jerk responses, and sometimes it's used in psychological responses communities as well. When something hits your knee, your foot is supposed to immediately shoot up if the nervous system is working properly. But when people are so feel so helpless, so uh, limited, so bound that they don't even have a voice. And then I think in a lot of respects, the church has become that place where, yeah, Cassandra Fields, welcome in, happened in George Floyd fashion. Absolutely. Pinned down and murdered in cold blood. Thank you, Theresa. You're right. Hate-filled act out of control. Kimberly Patton. We cannot be silent. Yes. Call daily to address your concern. Yes. They spin the narrative to make it seem as if they are justified in what they do. Yes. Charles Turner. Yes. Renee Good and Alex Pretty were American citizens who were executed by law enforcement. Yes. The same military groups that our taxes pay have now been turned on us, like an owner's dog being turned on him to attack. We're the owners of the military in this country. And if you think this is just a setup for, how do you say, Latino, otherwise Hispanic people, how do you say it, unnaturalized people, undocumented immigrants in this country, you are wrong. Adandra, welcome in. Horrific, but not surprised. A very good point. An RN whose job, thank you, I know you're sensitive to this, Cassandra, is to save lives. Life was taken. Yes, this is crazy. Yes, Pamela says I saw the entire frame by frame of the entire event. Yes, he was a vet. Yes, nurse and veteran trying to help people. Yeah, lawlessness, absolutely. And so, yes, but God allowed multiple people to get video showing they lied. Yes, and thank God. Thank God. And then I think, man, I just believe a great case is being built on two levels. Number one, what is the church? What are church people, God's people, going to do and say to these? What are your responses to these? God asked Jeremiah when he's calling him in Jeremiah, book of Jeremiah, the one that bears his name, chapter 1, he says, what seest thou? Man, that's a powerful question. God showed him something, and he asked Jeremiah, what do you see of what I'm showing you? What seest thou? And then, because that's the test, how are you going to be God's prophet? And your perspective is altered. You have myopic perspectives. That's one, and then the other side is when the church is so how do you say dumbed down as far as responses are concerned, and we don't raise up people. Jesus said, "You shall know the truth." That's about all matters, and the truth makes men free. Yes, Faith Walker. Thank you, Loretta. Outright cold-blooded murder. That's it. Call it what it is. What is it about Minneapolis? And it's crazy because if you ever are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, uh, and then many of the surrounding cities, it's one of the cleanest places on the earth I've ever been. I was in Minneapolis doing what I do, ministering the gospel of Jesus Christ and doing my best to do so. And I asked the pastor when I was there one time, and I said, "Take me. I want to see." I said, "Man, this city." It was the first time I had been to Minneapolis. It's cold there, man. It's really cold, and it's beautiful, beautiful. It was so beautiful. I said, "Pastor, take me to Section 8 living. I want to see the projects. I want to see the brickyard. I want to see where government subsidized housing is." And he took me. And I said, "What is this?" He said, "This is the project. This is subsidized living." The place was so clean, every place has a ghetto. And that was my point to the pastor. He said, "Yes, but Minneapolis." And I came to find that. And I know there are probably worse places in Minneapolis, but I'm saying it's just and so to combine that with the thought that all of these incidents are happening in the state of Minnesota, particularly the city of Minneapolis, is crazy. Yeah, what is it? George Floyd's murder took place there, which was clearly racially motivated. Yes. Minneapolis is a hotbed for ICE. Yes. Who is legally sanctioned to murder Americans? Yes. Now we got to do a little math, and you all are taking me there. I didn't want to go down this road, but I want someone to search it up and ask your search engine, whether it be Google or whether it be uh, any other various search engines you have associated, whether it's Safari or whatever you have, AOL, whatever you have. Ask the question, or just go to your friendly AI assistant and ask the question: how many undocumented residents does the state, let's just say the city of Minnesota, of Minneapolis, have? Ask that question. In terms of answering what is it about Minneapolis? Why has ICE been turned on Minneapolis? Why has ICE been turned on, let's say, why has ICE not been turned on the state of Texas? Why has ICE been released in California? Uh, yeah. See, there's a reason. It isn't because these areas are so bad. No, 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 no. It's all politically motivated. What kind of states? You see, you remember who ran for the vice president of these United States in this just last presidential election? The governor of Minnesota. Yes. And who are the buddies of this administration? Governor of Florida, and you've got many more undocumented immigrants in Florida, Texas, but those are buddies, but not California. No, no, because there are voices that have cried out, particularly starting with the governor. So you look at it. That's what that's all about. Yeah. Every national nursing institution has made a public statement, still waiting on one in particular here in the South. I see what you're doing there. They seem to be remaining quiet. Yes. And thank God for the nurses and nursing institutions, nursing associations who have made an outcry for this. It should be the brotherhood, sisterhood of the nursing component that makes an outcry against this federal government. So thank you, Cassandra, and Thank you for your work in that industry and field. Yeah, fight for democracy against authoritarian takeover slash dictatorship. Absolutely, my word, coined word, two words combined. Absolutely, and sure enough, law enforcement lethal force is the last resort, but with ICE, it's sadistically the first. Absolutely, sir. Yes, the Somalias. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, Theresa Thomas says, I drew the same conclusion. Minneapolis is a very clean city. I was amazed. It's almost pristine clean. It's amazing. Yes, the Somalian, thank you. The Somalis. Yeah, Dr. Patney, you're right. And Theresa Thomas, Minneapolis is a location for a Somalian population, people of color. Sure enough, they're like 20 plus in states with the issue. Yes, yeah, you all are getting there. Blue states, yes. Tim Walz, yes, he's the governor of Minnesota, trying to take a governor off. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. Carlette says, as of 2023 to 2025, 80,000 to 130,000. Now compare that now to other states, the population of the undocumented immigrants, red states, and you will see it's 10 times higher, 10 times that. Yeah, estimated 130,000 undocumented citizens in Minneapolis, right? This is a staggering number, provides perspective. Yeah, it's a low number when you compare it to the red states, however. Yes, yes, there you are. There you are. Yes. See, Bernice Redden has done the math for us. She says approximately 100,000 undocumented in Minneapolis. My state, Florida, has 1.6 million. That's what I say. It's 10 times that in red states, but you see no ICE detachment. Nothing but nothing. You all are smart audience. It's a blue state. Yes. Governor Tim Walz was Democratic vice president. Now you're cooking with hot grease, fish grease now. Yes, Democratic states did not vote Republican. 14 to 15% of immigrants population. There you are. There you have it. And Governor Newsom is on Trump like white on rice. Yeah, yeah, and that's to put it mildly. Yes, yes. My youngest daughter went to school there for a year. Yes, very clean. Thank you. That's a verification. It's amazing. Every time I hear something about the state of Minneapolis, particularly the state of Minnesota, particularly the city of Minneapolis, I'm like, man, it's one. I'm talking about. It's Canadian clean. It's like I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place. Thank you. Red versus blue. All right, now I've got to move on. I was just trying to touch on that because my point is, don't lose the revelation with the illustration. The point is, we need to be verbally uh, representing our dissatisfaction regarding ICE. We need to pay attention to ICE. This is no different than Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich and how he took over the, I forget the, I'm having a, propaganda was one thing, but then we took over the military. It's called something else, but I'm drawing and brain freeze for a minute, but it's going to be okay. All right. Now I want to take you all to something else. I found a little clip that I think you'll find interesting. I hope you'll find this interesting because I've got to cover my last two subjects, but let me throw this in here. Stay tuned. Just check this out and let's see.
Tired of marching. Tired of marching for something that should have been mine at birth. I don't mind saying to you tonight. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of the tension surrounding our days. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of living every day under the threat of death. I have no martyr complex. I want to live as long as anybody in this building tonight. And sometimes I begin to doubt whether I'm going to make it through. I must confess I'm tired.
Dr. King. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? The man said shortly before he was assassinated, I'm tired. I'm tired of marching. Did you catch the B portion? I'm tired of marching for something that should have been mine by my nativity or by my birth. I'm tired of marching. I'm tired of marching for something that should have been mine. Do you see the passion in this man's eyes? Do you see, God, it stirs me to another level every time I think about this man was not yet 40 years of age. He said, I don't have a martyr complex. I want to live as long as anyone in this building wants to live, but I'm tired of marching for something that should have been mine. What do y'all think? Y'all not talking. Do y'all need to hear that again? Maybe for the people in the back of the room, maybe my shift was too sudden. Dr.
Tired of marching. Tired of marching for something that should have been mine at birth. I don't mind saying to you tonight. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of the tension surrounding our day. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of living every day under the threat of death. I have no martyr complex. I want to live as long as anybody in this building tonight. And sometimes I begin to doubt whether I'm going to make it through. I must confess I'm tired.
What say ye? The man said it gets grueling. It becomes grueling on even truth tellers. I think, you think about it. Jesus was murdered. That's right. Our Savior was murdered at age 33 and 1/2. And this man just outpaces him by 5.5 short years. One, Jesus, 33 and 1/2 years of age. Dr. King, 39 years of age. And he says, I should have had this. In other words, if I probe into this and if you all let me play with it, he's saying, I should not have to march for something that the Constitution, and not only that, the preamble, not only that, the Declaration of Independence, all these 3 documents have promised me I should not have to march for something that should have been mine by way of my being birthed into this country. Why? And this is what people that outside of the race that I'm a part proudly cease to understand. Many white-skinned people they've never had to be confronted with rights, not privileges. We'll go and talk about that another day, but the rights of being born as a citizen, a taxpaying citizen in this country. Many of whom have never had to face these challenges. And so they think we're radicals. There are people that I met recently, and once I said my name, I think they researched, and the next time I had to see them, they was cold shoulder. They were outside of this demographic, and my family felt the same about these people. And I shudder to give people what it is I do and my name, because they don't get it. They don't get why there needs to be a voice. They don't get why we're concerned with these issues, where they don't get it. And so the silence of our friends, ours is to educate patiently and with tolerance, and bring people to an awakening, grand rising, and awakening. And I may do a program on that. I was speaking with the senior leadership of both of our campuses just this past Saturday, and this was not long. He was murdered not long after this statement. I'm tired of marching for something that should have been mine at birth. You think about it. There are people of color in this country only represent about 13% of the United States population, though dark-skinned people, black, bronze, and brown-skinned people are the majority of people in the world population, but this country is a little bit different. So let's just say 60, let's just say, what's that? 13% minus 100 will give you about what? 80, 87%, something like that, of this country are white-skinned people. We could take the 2%, the 3%, let's just say 80%. When we try to cover all the other ethnicities of this country, this melting pot we call America. But 80% of the people with whom you come in contact have no clue about what it was that Dr. King stood for and ultimately died for, which was just the bare rights that on paper we were promised. We were promised that we had the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, these certain unalienable rights given, but it was not even for the fathers of this country. They didn't have the black man in mind. They could not have, because 3/4 of them were slavers. They were enslavers. They were signing 70-something signers of the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution, whatever it was, and 2/3, maybe more, had slaves when they returned home, starting with Thomas Jefferson, go down, started with the first president, George Washington. And this man that's occupying the White House now takes down Dr. King's bust and reveres, let's just say, George Washington's portrait, who was an enslaver, the father of liberty, that some would say, the father of this country, the myth of George Washington. But he was an enslaver. He had multiple slaves on his plantation. Thomas Jefferson, no different. So they could not have been referring to, in the quest for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all men, it was all white men. And the church is, when you say that and you're a churchman or you have a calling of God on your life, then you're accused of being a rabble rouser. You're accused of not allowing sleeping dogs to lie. You're reveling up things that, well, maybe it's time. This man lost his life. Medgar Evers lost his life. Malcolm X lost his life, and there's a long list of others. There are white people who lost their lives. And I want to just shout out, would someone just type in the name? I'll just a little minute pop quiz of the lady who preceded Rosa Parks. Thank God for Sister Rosa Parks, Mother Rosa Parks. Thank God. But there was a lady, and she was buried here in Birmingham, Alabama this past Saturday, who refused to, and she didn't get the notoriety, give up her seat for a white man. She was only 13 or 14. I want someone to type her name. Well, I just want to shout out her name because it took incredible boldness, incredible courage to even take that disposition, preceding Mother Rosa Parks there in Montgomery, Alabama in 1958 or 59. Tell me her name. I know her name, but I want you to type her name in. She was buried this past Saturday in Birmingham. Okay, let's see how many other people will type her name in there. Thank you. Thank you. Claudette Colvin. Claudette Colvin. Thank you. Thank you. Mother Claudette Colvin, I think, 80, 86 years of age? Somebody double check me, fact check me on that. Buried in Birmingham. A powerful story behind Claudette Colvin. I think she was either 13, 14, or 15, and predated Mother Rosa Parks for refusing to give up her seat. And you need to know her story as well. And the reason that she didn't get the notoriety. She was 15. Yeah, so 15 years of age. Thank you, Theresa. There were reasons that she didn't get the notoriety. She didn't get the press, but she had the heart. She had the courage. And friends of mine, that's what it's going to take in these days. We're going to have to be people of courage. It takes courage for even church people, church goers, to say that your relationship with God is just not one-sided. It covers, just like the love of God covers a multitude of faults. Walking with God covers multi-levels of experience. Yes, because she was of darker hue, and a young mother. Yes, the big part, a young mother. She couldn't be the face of the civil rights movement. That's what it was. She was darker than Mother Parks, and she was a young mother. I think, at the time, she had either recently given birth or she was pregnant then, and that was the story. She couldn't be the face of the civil rights movement. Yeah. Thank you. They just did a report on her, Pastor Glover. Yes, she was 87. Okay, 86. Someone says 86. Someone says 87. So that's the thing, and we got to get past that. I mean, just think about the courage. She's a young mother, a mother to be, but yet at the same time, she has enough courage to say, "I'm not giving up my seat." I know, and then it all spawned from something she was taught in her school, her little black school. Yep. Pregnant mother at 15 years of age. Yeah, there you have it. Teen mother. There you have it. Yes. March 2nd, 1955, the incident occurred. Yeah. So she was courageous. It chokes me up when I think about her courage. And I just wonder, if I was faced with the same situation, would I have the ability to not be silent? It's powerful. It's powerful, man. Yep. Kimberly Patton, here we go. I love these. I love you all's minds. She's Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a teen mom. And in fact, she was. Yes, an unwed teen mom. I know somebody's not going to like this. Someone is not going to like this. Let's just give Dr. King his props. Dr. King was born on January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, assassinated, I say murdered, April 4th, 1968. You do the math, in Memphis, Tennessee. I intended to bring my paper. I have a paper one of my members purchased for me from the museum there at the Lorraine Hotel, of the newspaper that was printed that next morning with Dr. King's picture on the front and the headlines and all that. It's in my office down the hall, but I don't have time to get it now. He was a pivotal leader of the American civil rights movement, known for his advocacy of nonviolent resistance. That takes a lot of courage. Yeah, I'm going to give you all the last piece of this because my time is almost up for this program. I hope you all are ready for this. This is just a little, how could I say this? This is, I'll let it speak for itself.
ICE isn't just like the Gestapo. They're closer to slave catchers. And once that clicks, a lot of people get real uncomfortable real fast. Every time ICE comes up, someone reaches for that Gestapo comparison. And I get why they do it. Raids in the middle of the night, neighbors disappearing, families gone before breakfast. That's the kind of terror that people were taught to recognize, as long as it happened to people that looked like them. But that comparison is doing a whole lot of emotional work that it just doesn't deserve. Because structurally, historically, ICE does not move like the Gestapo. They move like slave patrols. And the reason nobody wants to say that out loud is because slave patrols aren't foreign. They're not exotic. They're not evil elsewhere. They're American. Homegrown. Slave patrols were legal, state-funded, community-supported. Their job was simple. Stop people, demand proof, and decide, on site, who belonged and who didn't. No crime required, no trial, no explanation. Just papers, accent, skin, and presence. That's it. That's the blueprint. They weren't hunting ideology. They weren't fighting enemies of the state. They were enforcing status. Who's allowed to move? Who's allowed to stay? Who can be taken and who can be returned? And here's the part people really don't want to sit with. Slave patrols are the history that a lot of white families don't talk about because it's not abstract, it's not distant, and it doesn't end with, and the bad guys lost. It sounds like something someone's great-great-grandfather may have done on a Tuesday afternoon. So people grab the Gestapo instead, because the Gestapo says that could never be us. Slave patrols say this is exactly us. The Gestapo comparison lets you condemn terror without interrogating lineage. Slave patrols, however, force you to admit that American terror didn't need a dictator. It needed law, it needed paperwork, it needed permission, it needed neighbors that said, well, that's just how this works. That's why ICE feels so familiar to some and shocking to others, because some of us recognize the pattern immediately. Civil enforcement, administrative power, we're just enforcing the law, you know? Paperwork treated like morality, and families treated like inventory. Different uniforms, different century, same logic. And that's why the Gestapo comparison keeps circulating, because it centers fear once it touches people that look like the ones telling the story. Slave patrols force a deeper realization, right? What if the terror wasn't imported? What if it was foundational? What if it never actually ended, it just learned a new language? ICE is not an accident, it's not a deviation, and it isn't new. It's old power doing what it's always done, just with updated branding and better PR. And once you see that, yeah, that's the oh moment.
Hopefully you will appreciate the bleep right there. Sometimes, what's the lady's name? And I want you all to type her name in the chat, in the comment section for some. I want you to type her name. I wish for you to do that. Her name is Ashley. She goes by the handle Ashley the Baroness, Barreness. Ashley the Baroness. Ashley, Ashley, the Thebrenness, the Baroness. This is prolific. It's profound. It's profundity coming out from this sister's lips. I thank God for people who are this courageously bold. She has many, many, many followers, and you can see the reason. Her deal is, yes, the word I was looking for was Gestapo, the military, the militia, the military police of Adolf Hitler. But her contention is, and she's right, that ICE is more like slave catchers. You see, slave catchers were individuals or groups, including state-sanctioned slave patrols. I've done programs on this, tasked with tracking, capturing, and returning escaped enslaved people to their enslavers, operating through violence, intimidation, and legal enforcement from colonial times until the abolition of slavery, with their activities becoming a major point of contention leading to the United States Civil War. There you have it. They operated in the Americas, particularly the U.S. South and Brazil, often kidnapping free Black individuals. You see that movie, very profound flick based on truth, I think it was. Was it 12 Years a Slave? I think that was an epic based on truth, because it happened all of the time. It happened all of the time where free black skinned people, because they were free in the North or whatever else have you, that people, these slave catchers, would catch them for reward and return them sometimes to their former initial plantations, and other times take them back to the South where they were paid money. But as I was saying, this process system operated in the Americas, particularly the U.S. South and Brazil, which is one of the first places where black skinned, brown, and bronze skinned people were taken from Africa. Brazil, often kidnapping free Black individuals and terrorizing Black communities under laws like the Fugitive Slave Act. I should do a program on that. That's an interesting law. The Fugitive Slave Act, ceasing their organized activities after the 13th Amendment. What was the impact? Slave catchers and patrols. Did you know that the county sheriffs in many southern counties acted as the former plantation owners after the abolition of Black enslavement in America? In other words, it's slavery by another name. The county sheriff was in cahoots with the slave plantation owners who had lost all these slaves, their number one resource economically. And so they were paid to round up these now free, quote unquote, black men and return them to their former plantations to work again for free after slavery was abolished, or to prison camps to build railroads, to build to to work in coal mines, and many of them, I think it was 800,000 to 1,000,000 black men were swept off of the streets by these slave catchers like ice, never heard from again. Fathers, uncles, fathers to be, never heard from again, ever. I'm closing. So slave catchers and patrols instill fear and terror, and their actions, particularly under the 1850 Act, heightened tensions, contributing to the outbreak of the Civil War. When did it come to an end, if it ever has? The system ended with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. The remnants of slave patrol structures, though remnants of slave patrol structures influenced post-Civil War social control. That means even after the Civil War, even after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, even after the 13th Amendment, that legally on the books made slavery illegal, the practice still went on. You all type something in the chat. Use your favorite emoji. Business philosopher Jim Rohn, or Rohn, some people pronounce his last name, made the statement, sincerity is not a test of truth. We must not make this mistake. He must be right. He's so sincere. He comes back with a retort. It is possible, and I wish people could hear this. It is possible to be sincerely wrong. We must judge truth by truth and sincerity by sincerity. Two different subjects, just as Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 7 tells us that it is important to understand there's a time for silence. Yes, and it has a shelf life. But mutually, there's a time to speak. This is the balance of God. Yeah, here. Yeah. Silence is, some would say, golden. I retort by saying only until one's family and friends are negatively affected by wrongdoing. Others would say, silence to me, George Matthews, silence is great. I say to them, until someone's voice is necessary to save your life or corroborate your innocence. Here are my closing George-isms, if you will. Silence is compromise. Silence is complicity with erroneous thinking. Silence is co-signing with control, racist, and bigoted, even supremacy mentality. Silence is equity, and fairness in reverse. Silence robs supremacy of ever hearing the truth and having the opportunity to change. Silence is the voice of continuous ethnic mistreatment. Silence validates inferior treatment. Silence is the approval of being objectified and maligned. Silence is often mistaken for agreement and consent. Silence is the devastation of a child being uncontrolled, untrained, and undisciplined by its silent parents. Undisciplined by its silent parents. Silence is one level of maintaining and perpetuating, here it is, cloaked ignorance. Silence is the ostrich syndrome. You know what that is. Black, bronze, and brown children must know how to correctly respond to racism, which they can only know when we are not silent. Truth does not require error to be silent in order to be in control. Error, however, demands the silence of truth in order to control any and every situation. Speaking the truth is not the crime. Withholding it is. And then finally, be silent. Here's your one out. Be silent if speaking only serves to boost your ego or seek validation. Now, I do want you, if you did not take part in the first The Silence of Our Friends podcast, I think that was Monday before. So if last Monday was the 18th, then this must have been the 11th. I did a program on what you're gonna do, ... if they come for you. And it's exclusively dedicated to ICE in its ill effects and what the whole intention is, the insidiousness of ICE. So please go to YouTube. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube page. Blessings and peace to you and yours. This program will be nothing without you. Please share it with someone if they will not be offended by your sharing it with them. If not, then just let bygones be bygones, and God will get it around where it needs to go. Blessings and peace. We'll see you all the next time. I'm going to leave the chat open. Please, you leave a closing comment. Will you do that? Leave a closing comment. Will you please also use your favorite emoji before going out? And we'll see you on one of these future Mondays. Whenever something happens that at least we'll be here once a month, at least once or twice a month. But we'll just see. Blessings and peace to you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Lift every